all right. We have the weather up there with us today, and this is something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. So, but seriously, explain to the people, explain to the casual Ocarina of Time players, or to my dad, who when I show him how heavy I'm breathing when I'm going in again, and he laughs at it, why is it such an anxious moment when you've gone all this way? I won't explain it, but just break down, some of those emotions and like why is it such up and down?
I mean, that's funny. It's hard to actually put into words, I guess. Like, I mean, like you're saying, it's hard to like describe to someone. Like, I even have trouble like describing to like, friends in real life, I guess, like why I like playing this, 20-year-old video game hundreds of times over and over, right? I feel like that's like such a big part of actually what like keeps me doing it, I guess, is like how exciting it is. It's like it's part of why I like the category I do. It's part of why I like speedrunning in general. It's like that, I guess it really is that adrenaline rush in a way. But it really is hard to put into words exactly why it is so exciting just playing a video game. But I think a lot of people can relate to it in maybe other gaming scenarios. Like I kind of feel like a similar rush and excitement when I'm not like a competitive Smash player by any stretch of the imagination, but like I've played my fair share in especially growing up. My older brother John, is actually he's pretty good, and he would always beat me. But anytime I felt like I had a chance, like when we were on the last stock, and it was like damage was going up, that was when it got so exciting. Was it just like getting so close to like finally beating my brother, right? And I guess like it's kind of similar in a way. It's like after so many attempts of of the same category, after so many attempts of the run, it's not all that often that you actually get that one chance that's on PB pace right at the end. And I guess it's just exciting to feel like you're so close to reaching like a goal in some sense like that. If that makes sense. Like other hobbies I like really get into or have been into in the past. I'm pretty big into rock climbing. It's funny how many similarities I can draw between rock climbing and speedrunning. I always thought it was funny because one of my there's different types of rock climbing. Well, there's what they call sport climbing or top rope climbing or route climbing, where you're it's kind of the taller stuff, right? It's going to be like often at least 40 feet. If you go outside, it's upwards of like 80 feet, sometimes taller. And in order to do a route bottom to top, it's all about endurance. It's about being able to just like rest when you need to and be able to carry on all the way through without falling.
Right.
And then there's bouldering, and bouldering is often the shorter stuff. Sometimes it's like less than 10 feet, which is like,
any percent.
Not really. Yeah. No, exactly. Like, so like bouldering is much shorter, and it's all about like these single individual like very difficult moves that are very like low percentage, and that's the rock climbing that I really enjoy. Some people do both. I do a little bit of both, but I definitely prefer bouldering, and it's that same sort of thing, I guess. Yeah, like you're saying, to like shorter speed runs in a way.
So you prefer doing shorter runs in general?
I mean in general, just to be honest, I haven't really done too many different categories, too many different speedruns.
Right.
I started with Ocarina of Time when Defikan no SRM was still any percent.
I was thinking back to a video of you at GDQ. Do you like that kind of thing? Is that something you want to do more of in the future?
I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely like my first and only time on that kind of stage, I guess. But I mean, yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast. I do feel like it would be somewhat unlikely that Defikan no SRM would get put in GDQ again.
Yeah.
At least anytime soon, just because of you know, I mean, Torch's run got in, and it went really well. You know?
Yeah.
Big part of actually why Torch's run got accepted at the time was because the last time any percent at the time was in GDQ, it was it was prior to them finding GIM, B1 GIM, I guess they called it, where you'd do the Vine clip.
Right.
And actually, before that was found, there was B2 GIM, which was down by the scrubs, and that was like even crazier. So the RNG nut root, I forget how low it got before they found the consistent GIM. That was the route that was in GDQ prior to Torch's run, and so like since then, a lot of changes had happened. So it's actually like a pretty cool thing to be able to showcase like what's changed in the category, stuff like that. So, and I gotta say, I'm like still like very honored, I think, to be able to like be on the stage and commentate on the couch for that run.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about the journey. All right, let's talk about the journey up until we're gonna talk about this run. All right, we are gonna talk about this run.
Yeah.
But let's talk about leading up to this run. So actually, one of the first things I wanted to ask you is, where did the name The Weather Up There come from?
So that's actually, I am 98% sure that it's been deleted at this point. But when I was in middle school, I had a Tumblr account, and I had to come up with a username. And at the time, everybody was, you know, coming up with these clever usernames, and I didn't know what to do. But I've always been tall, and I thought it would just be the most hilarious thing if my Tumblr account, which was primarily like I don't know, like diary based, like brain dump posts, was how's the weather up there. So the weather up there, that's kind of where that came from. The dumb tall person joke, we're like, how's the weather up there? I don't think anybody says that anymore, but that's basically where it came from, and it basically stuck around. I have again changed like my Instagram handle and stuff like that, but it was my Instagram handle at the time and stuff like that. So when I made a Twitch, it was just kind of like,
yeah, do you ever think about that like this like decision you made in middle school is now like your identity?
I know,
you know?
Right? Yeah. Like, I remember, and you know, I remember like made my account, and I think Skater or Torres actually were the first streams I watched, and I remember like popping and be like, hey, good luck or whatever, and then be like, oh hey, thanks weather, and I was like, oh shit.
It's definitely cool when you get like this other alias, like I don't know, even like, right, like I'm not big in social media or like whatever, but like when people call me Thunder, it's like,
it's pretty funny.
I don't know, it's funny, but it's also kind of cool because it kind of like makes you feel like you're almost like a different person. I don't know, like when you like go on Twitch, you like enter this world where like you're no longer, you know, your real life self. You are the weather up there, you know, and you're doing these speed runs. So when did you start streaming, and was it always speedrunning Ocarina of Time?
It was always speedrunning Ocarina of Time. It was, I think it was October 2017. So I had actually started speedrunning in like June or July or something like that, a couple months prior. But it was literally just like I was fooling around, you know, like I had seen speedruns, and I was like had just finished. I think I've told the story on stream a couple times, but I don't know if everybody's heard it. But like, I had finished like a couple. I beat Ocarina of Time a few times.
You didn't really grow up playing it like when it came out.
I kind of did. I mean, like
you did a little bit.
Yeah, like we had an N64 growing up, and I remember when I was 10, I tried to play it, and I got stuck in the Deku Tree. And now I'm still stuck in the Deku Tree, in a different way. But I kind of like, you know, moved on when I was younger, and I played it again like maybe middle school sometime, and that was like the first time I was able to beat it. And then played it again in high school, and then I played it again right after I had graduated college. So that was like the summer of 2017. And after I had finished, I was like, I still wanted to play it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I spent a lot of time with it that last playthrough. I like really kind of binged it, but really kind of I tried to do like as much of like the side stuff as I could, you know. It was just fun. and I wanted to keep playing it. But I didn't really want to just like start over from the beginning and just like do another casual playthrough. My mindset was like I didn't want the puzzles and the dungeons to get old, right? Like, you play it enough times, you know how it all goes. At this point, like that reasoning is out the window. But what I decided to do instead was I decided I'll play around with some glitches that I've seen people do, right? And the one that had always caught my eye when I'd like seen speedruns on YouTube and things like that was Wes's, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like the one thing that I thought was like ridiculous, right? You're just like sliding around like
it looks cool. It looks really cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, I always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I at the time, what I had known or what I had seen was the west to Kakariko Village from Rose River, in I guess the Kakariko Any Percent run at the time.
Right.
And so I made my way to the river, and I tried it until I got it. And I remember like sitting on the couch, in the living room, just like fooling around, and all of a sudden he starts sliding backwards, and I'm just like, right? And I guess that's like when I was like hooked on, doing these speed runs and these glitches.
It's like, wow, this game, like there's so much potential. Like it's not just even the content. It's like you can actually break this game and do crazy stuff. And it's like, I want to do more.
Cool. Yeah. It's so cool. Like, so I was kind of hooked at that point, and I like kept learning, these little tricks and glitches and Any Percent. I was following Michael Radar's tutorial on YouTube, and so I learned trick after trick. I learned Forest Escape after that,
right?
Even though that comes first, but I just like learned these tricks here and there.
Yeah.
And finally I was like, hold up, the only thing left before I can actually just like do a run is wrong warp.
Hold up, I'm pretty good. I'm getting pretty good at this. Like
thinking to myself at the time, I was like, if I'm able to like figure out wrong warp, I could do a speed run. And like, so I think I like downloaded a emulator because I couldn't figure out how to do it on console because it would take forever to like reset up. But I was able to get it. I remember doing my first run on the couch, and it was probably like third try wrong warp or something like that, and I finally did it. And you finally get into the room with the burning rocks, and it was that same sort of like,
I did it.
Oh, crazy! Like,
I'm here.
Happening? Yeah, and I guess like going back to that like thing, like, where does that adrenaline come from? It's so hard to put into words, but it's that like, I don't know, that like moment of like, I'm doing it. I don't know. I don't really know how to put it, but.
And that's interesting, because I grew up playing Ocarina of Time, and I feel like I just have a really strong connection to Ocarina of Time. Like it's weird to some people because, but like I've pretty much been playing Ocarina of Time since I was 6 years old, and I'm 23 now, and I don't think I've really ever stopped playing it. Feel that connection to the game, or for you, does the adrenaline come from like just the success of like doing all these new glitches correctly? And there's also the improvement factor, right? Now that you're trying to lower your time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I mean, I definitely don't think I would say I have that same like historical emotional connection to the game. I love the game. I've always loved Zelda games, I guess. Like, I think Ocarina of Time was the first Zelda game I played, but it wasn't the only one growing up. And I always I remember like making like costumes and dressing up as Link and stuff like that growing up. I was just like a cool guy, right?
Yeah, cool guy.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think for the most part, I would say most of that like adrenaline rush is a combination of like that improvement factor you're talking about, and like I guess that like just speed running aspect, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so you learned these glitches and you did your first speed run. When did you start streaming more consistently and streaming these runs and getting more serious about it? And like just bring me through like some of your big milestones and like goals up to this point.
Okay. I think like the first day I streamed was probably like one of the coolest days. Although it's like so hard to start, the first day I streamed was like crazy to me because I had spent months just like speedrunning this game in a vacuum on my couch, right? Just like watching a YouTube tutorial, trying to do it.
Right.
and like I think like over time I got my time down to like a 30 or maybe sub 30. But I remember the first day I streamed and all of the different people who like whose names I recognized from YouTube tutorials or from leaderboards or whatever it might be would pop in and just say like, "Hey, good luck," or like give me a pointer, like, "Hey, maybe don't this the strat you're doing right now is good, but it's a little outdated," and like send me a link to a better one or something like that. And it was like a lot of it was just so cool to me to have this like vacuum that I learned this game in just broken into like what is honestly a pretty massive community, especially at
Oh
this
yeah.
point.
And it's so great and collaborative. I mean, so many
Yeah,
of the people are
yeah,
just so
no,
helpful
definitely.
and nice. And I mean, I feel like there are a lot of very big names that are very active in Discord and responding to pretty much random people. And it's I think that's so cool because you don't see that in other communities.
Yeah, like I was so shocked, and it's still like I guess a big part of what I love about Ocarina of Time as well as just the Ocarina of Time speedrunning community is the community.
Yeah,
It's so strong and so welcoming, and encouraging. It's like in
absolutely.
so many competitive environments, um, there tends to be like a little bit of animosity sometimes, right? Not all the
Yeah,
time. Depends person to person, whatever. But I just feel like in Ocarina of Time, there's hardly any, right? Like as I kept streaming, there was like a lot of moments where I guess I like would start to become closer to other streamers. Actually, Richard was one of the first people in my stream when I started streaming, any percent way back in the day, and I remember that was like again, I got kind of nervous just seeing Richard Sage in chat. I think he had like an 1839 at the time. And to me, that was just like impossible. And I was like, this is crazy. This guy has like 30 viewers all the time. And here I am with two, and he's one of them. And it's like, it's pretty
that's
cool. He helped me out so
that's
much.
how I felt when you just came into my stream and out
It's
like
so
30
funny to
minutes
me.
ago.
It's so funny to me. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It is funny because it's like,
But you
you
are one
know,
of those guys now. I mean, you
I
are one of
guess,
those
yeah.
guys. It's true. You've beaten Ocarina of Time in 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Throw away categories, throw away world records. That is fast. That is
Thanks.
really, really
I
fast.
appreciate that.
Was it I mean, I guess since you've been speedrunning, there's been a lot of evolving in the Ocarina of Time
For sure.
speedrunning community. Is it is it almost make you a little sad that Defeat Ganon isn't still any percent, or how do you feel about SRM and
Yeah.
Ace? Do you kind of just see it as its own thing and you do your own thing?
I mean, yeah, definitely in a big way. I think like it was admittedly a little bit hard. Like a little bit later than this time last year, so a little less than a year ago. It was basically when SRM first like just broke the game apart, right? Like it
Yeah.
had been known for a couple months, but like I guess I don't think everybody like really knew its capabilities. And I had actually been on a bit of like a hiatus. It's something I've done a couple times. It's like I've gotten burnt out a couple times from
We all go through
streaming and
phases, you
speedrunning.
know? Yeah,
Yeah, which it happens.
sure.
So I actually like hadn't really been too much involved, or too like I hadn't been too involved, I guess, in the community or speedrunning. And all of a sudden, I see a video posted by Lazoots. And I think it was like a 14 something any percent or like a 13 something. I forget what it was off the top of my head, um, but like at the same time, it's like it is so cool
Oh
that
yeah.
like
Oh yeah,
everything that
absolutely.
is possible in game, right?
And the people who
Um,
figured it out,
yeah,
right?
no, like huge congrats to everybody that like played a role in that. It is like actually nuts.
Yeah.
But I have to say, is like somebody whose like entire speedrunning career was any percent.
Yeah.
I started with Kakariko Route, sitting on my couch, trying to figure it out on Michael Radio's tutorial. started streaming, like chipped my time down. I learned Gimroot, and then like kept like chipping it down. I think I had gotten it down to 1804
Wow.
prior to Ace being found, and
Wow.
it's like a hell of a journey to, with that route, and it was definitely pretty, like, I guess genuinely like somewhat scary to think that like this trick could obsolete all of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. For sure.
So I think it did get me back into the community because I didn't want to see, I guess, like the category that I knew and loved just disappear. So I started streaming again, and I was streaming Gimroot. I didn't know what to call it. And I had talked with Richard a bit about it too, because we had gotten a little bit closer over the years. And I think we had similar, points of view about the whole thing. Like he was getting really close to world record at the point, and he's been grinding that category for basically 3 years
for sure.
nonstop.
Yep.
And it was a bit of a scary moment because it's like, what do we do? Do we get with the times and learn this new stuff, or do we do what we've always done, what we love?
Right.
And it was like tough, the discussions in the community Discord were like a little tough to see people just like toss aside Gimroot in a way. It's like it had its time in the limelight, now it's time to move on. That was like a pretty common mindset about it. It's like, I don't know, like people referred to like the Gimroot runners as specifically Gimroot runners, and like it really felt like almost being like ostracized from the speedrunning community, which is, again, one of the biggest parts that I love still about Ocarina of Time speedrunning is the community. So it really kind of hurt to feel like that separation. Like, I don't know. It was a hard time, but
no, I feel you.
I feel like I'm really making it pretty dramatic, but
no, but like this was
a little bit of a scary time.
I totally understand that. I think thankfully it's simmered down a little bit in terms of the surprise of SRM. I mean, obviously new people to the speedrunning community still think it's crazy, but like I think now, right, you're obviously comfortable running Defeat Ganon. Tell me about cars.
Yeah, so that's funny. Cars is something that like I never really thought I would be into. That was like some of the first video games I played as a kid actually were car games.
Need for Speed?
There was Need for Speed, yeah. Naturally, right? It was Need for Speed Underground 2 was the one I played first.
Yes. Good game.
Good one, right? And I think like my dad got me like this like little steering wheel that I would put on my lap to play it, and it really got me like kind of hooked on like the driving experience. And that's funny that you bring that up because like speedrunning wise, I have at this point I have a car that again, COVID, I haven't been able to do this past year, but
right.
Years past I've brought it out to these events that they call autocross.
No way, really?
Yeah, and autocross is really cool because you can bring nearly any car to this event, so long as you got seatbelts, an airbag. It's basically street legal, and your battery is tied down. They'll let you bring it onto the track, and it's pretty cool. It's essentially like if you ever watch those, like I always like think in my head like in like car safety ads, they'll show like a car going around some cones and like
yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know you mean.
Basically what you're doing, it's like a big parking lot. You got cones set up, and you have to basically do this like obstacle course more or less, and they time you. And it's
now we're getting somewhere.
I are like in real life speedrunning, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny, like you're trying to shave tens and thousandths of a second off your time every lap.
Yo, is that a Master Sword behind you?
It is actually, yeah. Let me grab it.
Yeah, let's see it.
So I've got three brothers, and my little brother Peter got me this for Christmas.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So this was I think the the first Christmas after I'd gotten into speedrunning. So like,
oh my gosh.
I remember the first time I beat Zelda under an hour. My brothers had played the game, and I remember I texted, we had like a brothers group chat, and I texted all three of them, and I was like, I just beat Ocarina of Time in like 58 minutes or something like that, and I was pumped, and whatever. But so they knew I was speedrunning, and Christmas morning, my little brother hands me this like massive box, right? And it obviously was holding this, but this big rectangular box, and I'm unwrapping it, and as I'm lifting the lid off, he plays this sound effect on his phone, and it was the da 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 da.
Oh my gosh!
Right as I lifted the thing up, and there's the Master Sword in my lap, and I just still think that was the funniest thing. It was like,
dude, that's great.
So good. But yeah, that's this thing.
Awesome.
The same year, my cousin Jeremy, who pretty close with my cousins up north, somehow he also got a sword that year for Christmas, which is a pretty absurd common gift to have. So there's some dings on it, because what do you do when you and your cousin?
Oh my gosh! Of course. Yeah. That's awesome though.
Anyway,
do you feel like because when you were playing Ocarina of Time and learning glitches and stuff, you mentioned a bunch that you were watching YouTube tutorials. Is that really what drew you to start making YouTube tutorials?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I do think about the people who are sitting on their couch just curious to try speedrunning, right?
Yeah.
I always wanted to make a tutorial that like you could watch, make mistakes, figure out like what those mistakes meant, and improve, right? So it's definitely why I wanted to make the tutorial. It's not done yet, but it's turned out to be a lot of work, but it's been fun.
I wanted to do this real quick, and then we can wrap up. But I was thinking we could do a really, really short Ocarina of Time trivia.
Trivia.
All right.
Okay.
Just a few questions. All right. Are you? Do you think you can handle this? All right. We're gonna start out easy, and
Okay.
we're gonna get up to some more difficult stuff. All right.
Let's do it.
Okay. What is the maximum amount of hearts that you can have in Ocarina of Time?
20?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Good job. Yes.
Okay.
It's 20.
Oh,
It's
God.
20. No, you're good.
3.
You're good. All right. This one you should know. A little bit tougher for the average person. This one you should know. How many units of damage does it take to kill Goma?
Oh, 10.
Yeah. Nice. He's on fire.
Thank you.
All right. Third and final question until the bonus question. What is the actual name for the owl in Ocarina of Time?
Oh,
I
don't
so
remember.
it's Kaepora Gaebora.
Kaepora Gaebora. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. I'm still gonna ask the bonus question. All right.
Okay.
This is pretty tough. In the Lon sequence of the final credits of the game, who is Mido sitting next to?
King Zora?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. Nice. I've watched the run a few times. It's interesting because before you enter the Deku Tree, I think you bonk twice and you read a sign. So you have a lot of time to save.
The Deku Tree, the sign, bonk twice. Gim was decent. Scrubs was really good. Goma was a little slow, started the fight a little slow. But I missed the west to Goma's door during Wrong Warp, and then it was like third.
So you could hit the west. You did get the waterfall west really well.
Which was really I was pretty pumped on that.
It was super, super clean, and that's when the hype started to build. I remember that.
It's funny, like I've watched the run back, and it's like I've stared at my heart rate monitor as I do the trick, and it starts like I'm a little nervous at like 110, and by the time I'm like at Goma's door, it's like 165 or like.
Man, you gotta have, and maybe it's just, I mean, it's pretty impossible not to get your palms a little sweaty and the heart beat up when you get there. But have confidence. You are such a good player, and you're going to get the world record. The time save is there. The math is all there. You're going to do it. So just relax, man. And I know that's not what anyone wants to hear, and it's a little bit more complicated than that. But dude, be confident in your skill because you're there and you are one of the people.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely pretty funny because it's like I still, like, in my head, you know, I still always feel like I'm looking up to those, like, giants in my head of speedrunning, right? Like, I still always feel like I'm.
But I mean, aren't they more so your friends now?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, you know, like I would think so, right? But like,
you still kind of see them as like superiors, as like people who you view as like on kind of like a higher
it's hard to
tier.
It's like I don't want to, like.
You can't when you get the world record
too much, but like, you know, it's like I do still feel like I'm chasing that, like, skill level of, you know, Narcissa and Skater and Torge and Richard and, like.
I don't know, man. I think you're there. I mean, patience. This is such a huge accomplishment, and I think honestly, Twitch is so grateful to have you as a streamer. So, guys, this is the weather up there. I'm gonna put all of his stuff on screen and in the description. Dude, thank you so much for taking this time to talk to me. This was so awesome.